Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be receiving the 2013 Sydney Peace Prize and to be speaking to you all this evening. I am also delighted to share my work and experience today. While in Burma, I studied to be a doctor. I feel fortunate to have the opportunity to get that education. My parents moved to the city to make this opportunity for better education. While I was in university, we learned medicine from our teachers, our senior fellows and textbooks, but the most importantly from our patients. Case story of women, children, and men make me think about the role and responsibility of physicians. It is not only treating illnesses, but also protect people from power abuse and promote human dignity. While we are treating patients, we have to build a relationship and trust, and that will give you accurate and correct information that will help you to diagnose correctly. We have to encourage them to understand the treatment process and to take control over of their health. The health workers are overwhelmed when we don't have enough time, skill, and resources that are required for patient care. We need to know accurate picture of health status of our people. The government health system should support the health professionals to work efficiently and ethically. I believe that health professionals must take more active role in building the health system that empowers health workers and patients. I fled from Burma to Thailand 25 years ago, and I have lived in Thailand ever since. The student launched pro-democracy movement against the military government on 8 August 1988. The military responded violently. Thousands were arrested, killed, or disappeared. University students and others, including doctors, nurses, and teachers, fled to the jungle in Karen State, a border region that has been affiliated by conflicts between the Karen ethnic armed groups and Burmese government since 1948. I was working as a private practitioner in a Karen village in 1988 and left Burma because I felt it was not safe anymore. I was hoping the democracy movement would prevail and we would be able to return in 3 to 6 months. On the Thailand-Burma border, suddenly there were people from many different ethnic and geographic areas of Burma who had never met before or worked together before. Because of the military government propaganda, there was a lot of distrust and tension between the groups. Among the displaced people, there were health workers and teachers, and we have to make a decision to work together. The new arrival from city of Burma had never experienced the jungle or lack of running water, electricity, or healthcare service. Many fell ill from malaria or diarrhea. The doctors and nurses who fled to the border started setting up a small clinic in the camps to treat the sick and wounded. While they need supply, they crossed the border into Thailand, which was much more developed than Eastern Burma. With the help from Karen and Thai community, essential medicines and supply were brought into the camps. We set up medical clinic in a small hut, located just 4 kilometers from the border, helping to refer patients from the camp to the Thai government hospital. In those days, we had very few resources. The donation come from Thai and Korean community help us. Medical clinic was born from this community relief effort. 2 years later, bigger organizations started assisting us. Over the years, we started other programs which we saw the needs and population grow. There are regular influx into Thailand due to the continuing ethnic conflicts in Burma, poverty, deprivation, and human rights abuse throughout Burma. There are now around 140,000 people in refugee camps in Thailand, over 500,000 internally displaced people in Eastern Burma, as well as 3 million Burmese migrant workers in Thailand. The health situation in Burma remained dire. Even though the government recently raised their health expenditure from about 1% to their budget to 3%, it is still shockingly low. This lack of investment has led to a crippled health system that was voted 119 out of 191 countries by WHO. Maternal mortality and infant mortality rates are some of the worst in the region, but they are even worse in eastern Burma, where conflicts and poverty have left much of the population without access to proper health care. This is why our service has grown to meet the needs of this vulnerable population and why we collaborate as part of the strong ethnic health network to meet the gaps. Around 50% of mental clinic caseload is undocumented migrant laborers who cannot access Thai health program. We continue to work with Thai public services, assisting migrants to access Thai healthcare system. It is part of an ongoing work. We actively participate in disease control, HIV prevention and care, and improve access to life-saving emergency obstetric care. We want to build a bridge between Thai public health system and the vulnerable population, migrant workers, and displaced people. Thai government have a strategy to address the health needs of the border population, but Burmese government is yet to engage in the strategy. About half of our patients cross the border from Burma to come to Thailand. Just recently, a young girl, only 19 years old, delivered her firstborn baby at the clinic. Her story touched me. I asked her why you left Burma. She said her whole family had to leave Burma when she was 9 years old. They had to sell their farms to raise funds for the medical costs for her father. Her father had tuberculosis, which is expensive to treat in Burma. There was no government hospital to get TB treatment in their village, only private clinic, which made treatment unaffordable for this family. The young girl, aged 9 years old, need to leave school and began working. But they could not live in this condition, and finally, they have to make a decision to leave Burma. Displacement occurs because of the conflicts in Burma, but also because of the lack of access to essential, affordable healthcare service. Because of the Burmese government decision to prioritize spending on the military rather than health and education, the people suffer. They have to make a choice between healthcare and their livelihoods, healthcare and education for their children. On the border, we believe that accessible, affordable healthcare is a human right. In eastern Burma, which have experienced decades of conflicts, there are some alarming health statistics. In 2004, border-based ethnic health organization conducted the first population-based survey, which highlights the concerning health picture for maternal and child health. Almost 90% of women deliver at home by unskilled birth attendants, and as a result, 1 in 12 women are dying of complications during pregnancy and childbirth. 14% children are acutely malnourished. 1 in 5 children die before the age of 5, usually from preventable and curable disease, malaria, pneumonia, and diarrhea. This is a terrible tragedy. Health services in Burma were non-existent and ignoring those most vulnerable people. Through medical clinic training program, we focus on midwife training for ethnic health organizations who work across the border in Burma in ethnic conflict zone. Now almost 10,000 mothers delivered their babies with trained birth attendants safely last year alone. Now 86% of births are attended by skilled midwife, but only 12% attended in the government facility, and the remaining 74% are attended by trained community midwife and ethnic health workers. This is the work of border-based health service. Most of this area is still not reached by Burmese government health services. I am grateful for their dedication to their work and their community. Many of our staff are refugees themselves. Most have no identification, making travel and security very challenging. It also made accreditation very difficult. Most have not completed formal education or training, but we offer them comprehensive health worker training and ongoing medical education to give them the skill and knowledge needed to treat their community. Every year, we train about 120 to 150 community health workers and offer clinical internship. Our training program not only train health workers for mental clinic, it also helps to provide hundreds of skilled health workers for clinic across ethnic states in Burma. Our ethnic health partners have a target population of almost 500,000 people, most of whom cannot access other quality health service due to distance, cost, or language barrier. Without this community clinic, people will have to walk for days to the nearest private clinic or government hospital without any guarantee of getting better. We are also trying to improve the status of our staff and children in the community by working towards education and accreditation, as well as birth registration, which give people in our community better access to opportunity in Thailand and Burma. We are lucky that we have had support from many international volunteers since the start. Doctors and nurses and other skilled volunteers from Australia, US, UK, and beyond have gone back to their countries and spread the word about mental clinic. Our first volunteer through the Australian Government Volunteer Program, AVI, came in 1997, and we have been fortunate to receive many more ABI volunteers since then. We also have many medical students from Australia University coming to us each year for their elective. Our Australian partner is Union Aid Abroad, AFIDA. We have working with them since 1999. Our partnership with AFIDA is not only about funding, but also advocacy and solidarity of the Australian people with displaced and vulnerable people. We have shared values around community empowerment, and this is important to us. The Australian government started supporting training at mental clinic in 1994, and in recent years, through our partnership with Union Aid Abroad, AFIDA gave us larger grants that enable us to deliver over 3,000 babies a year, conduct thousands of HIV testing, and give life-saving treatment to thousands of children, among other things. Unfortunately, as you may have heard, the Australian government has recently decided to stop funding on the border health program. We are very surprised and disappointed with the decision, and I ask them to reconsider. This move has made things difficult and stressful for us because we cannot start turning away vulnerable people who have nowhere else to go. I would therefore like to remind the Australian government that this fund should be directed to humanitarian needs. With the changes in Burma, Thank you. With the changes in Burma, we are looking for opportunities to reduce reliance on our service over time. But durable peace in Burma is still far away, and it will take many years for the health system to be developed. In the meantime, the community around Mae Sot is still growing, especially as it is now an economic zone, and ASEAN integration will result in ever greater mobility between the two countries. Thai government hospitals are already at capacity, so greater investment in healthcare in both Burma and Thailand is needed in order to address the health needs of the border population. For me, as a health professional, we have to be the link for the community. The health workers are from the community and are concerned about their mother or children or their father. They need to be trained to be resilient even in the hard and difficult situations. They need to take a more active role in building the system to be more affordable and accessible for the community. We want the government to take responsibility, but we cannot wait for them. The life of the community depends on us to take this role. We have to build a system that empowers the community and the health workers. This is right-based approach. The work of Mental Clinic and our partners over the years has been to help build peace in the community through justice, giving people the knowledge and skill. They need to help themselves. We have preliminary ceasefire agreement in the place in several parts of the country, which is a good place to start discussing peaceful solution. But we have a long way to go. The community will have a very important role in developing peaceful relationship and helping to heal the country after decades of conflicts, human rights violation, and poverty. Our vision for the future is for a peaceful Burma, and our community will continue working towards peace until Burma can finally offer safer and more prosperous conditions for our future generation. Thank you very much.
Have a seat, Dr. Cynthia. Welcome to Australia.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your work and on the award that you'll be receiving tomorrow night. I know you don't feel comfortable about speaking about yourself, so I'm going to ask you the uncomfortable questions first. You mentioned in your talk that you left Burma because it was unsafe. Can you tell us a little bit about the experiences that you had that led you to flee over the border to Mysore?
During 1988 uprising, the student and civilian who took part actively in demonstration, there were many people who are in jail, or we heard that in Rangoon, thousands of people were killed on the streets, and some of them disappear. So we feel very unsafe that because I myself and our colleagues, we took part in this demonstration, and we feel that we need to be safer and we need to continue our struggle. So we feel that we will have more opportunity to come to the border and working with different ethnic groups, as well as the people who fled to the border.
So you went over the border intending to stay for 3 months and have stayed almost a quarter of a century. What made you stay so long? You could have, for example, come to Australia. And worked as a doctor here.
Yeah, the border is very unique and very special for me because I have learned a lot while I was staying on the border. The first thing I started learning is the Karen and the Thai community, regardless of they never know these people. There are many students, civilians come to the border, but they are strangers. But immediately people start trying to mobilize, supporting the displaced people, and they treating these all people as their children. So we health workers and the teacher also have to take more active role in helping or assisting each other. And we have found that there are a lot more displaced people who have been displaced from their home and hiding in the jungle and displaced into Thailand. So we need to continue strengthen our health network.
Yes, so you stayed because more and more people came over the border. Tell me a little bit about your journey, about the difficulties that you faced during the very long years that you've been there and grown the clinic, the difficulties and where you found inspiration and where you found help.
The difficulties is firstly, we don't have space in Thailand where people are staying as illegal migrant workers or people don't have legal documents. ourselves when we cross the border. We are afraid of Thai police, and we are hiding. Even we are providing assistance from the local Thai and Korean community, we are have to hide. And many students and the civilian who come and get help, they are also, they don't have legal documents. So even we are staying in our community or in our compound, people feel that we are still risk of arrest and deportation, as well as we are always concerned about shortage of medicine, and sometimes we don't have enough food ration from the relief agency. So we really feel that in case of emergency where we can find more help, but with assistance from the local community, we able to communicate or connect with the local Thai hospital. They offer us opportunity to refer patient in case of emergency. So since that time, we build the bridge and we build a relationship with local Thai community and the Korean community.
Tell me, how common is it in Burma for a woman to be in a leadership position? How difficult is it?
Generally in Burma, male-dominant society. So women are not much participate in the social events, or women not much participate in the community meetings. So women used to take care of the children. But one thing, good things for women is women always attached to the family. So it makes safer to the family, or to make to can see the benefit of the building the community. As a woman, it is very important to take a very important role in taking care of the family, as well as when they have more education, they can more take active role in building the community.
But you've been in this leadership role now for a very long time, and you are, I'm wondering how you would describe yourself. Others may say, well, you are selfless, you're dedicated, I suspect you're quietly very determined, but what do you think are the attributes that have allowed you to achieve what you have achieved?
I think it started in the family or in the school, because in our family we have 4 sisters and 3 brothers, and we are all equal. And in the school, in our medical school, we don't have not much discrimination among men and women. But there will be some problem for some people, but generally we are study together and we work together. So in the medical school, the women who get better education have more confidence to work with men or to work with men colleagues.
So family support is critical.
Yeah. Also education is an important thing. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the clinic. Why do so many people in Burma and on the border have no other choice but to come to your clinic? So it's not just the people, not just the refugees living on the Thai-Burma border, but people come to your clinic from all over Burma. Why do they do that?
In short, we can say that accessible and affordable healthcare service need to be in the community or closer to the community. And the relationship between the health workers and the patient is also very important. And the health workers, wherever they live, they need to be supported by the system. So if they don't have enough resources or they don't have enough time or skill, they will be also overwhelmed. So the reason for patient coming to us is we get support from different international NGO. Our health workers are very committed. They come from the same situation and the same problem they're facing in the community. So we are working together as a partnership, not only as a health professional. We have to empower the people. So people who could not access healthcare nearby their village or community, they have to cross the border and come to us.
So they can't access healthcare in Burma. Just tell us who they are, because We know in Burma there are probably about 7 major ethnic groups and hundreds of minority groups. Are these people economic, political, or religious refugees? Describe the general profile of the people that need to come to you.
Generally, 70% of Burmese population are living in the remote area, and many of them living also in the ethnic area where there is a conflict going on. So accessible and affordable healthcare is far from their village or their community. And even services available, they cannot, sometimes they don't speak the language, and sometimes they don't have legal documents, so they're afraid to travel. So
it's not just Karen people that come to your clinic. Individuals from other ethnic groups need to seek help from you as well.
Yeah, initially most of our patients are people from the border, like Karen State, Mon State. Gradually, we have seen there are many more migrant workers who come from central Burma. So while they come to work, they can't access healthcare service in Thai public system because they are undocumented.
So a quarter of your funding has come from Australia in recent years. What will the cut in that $250,000, actually it's $500,000, isn't it? $500,000 of AusAid. What has it enabled the clinic to do, and what will now be at risk because you won't be getting that money?
Yeah, almost 12% of our annual budget come from Australia government. This is very crucial for us, especially since this funding supports maternal child health program, HIV testing, counseling, and HIV access to HIV treatment, and as well as providing emergency obstetric service for mother and children who need to get intensive care. So this is very crucial for us. Also, with the support from Australia government, we continue to train health workers and midwives to upgrade their skill. So we will be very struggling, and it is very stressful for our staff and patients if we don't have enough resources or enough support.
Will you be seeing members of the government while you are here? Have you been able to secure a meeting with any members of government?
Yeah, we plan to go to Canberra, meeting with government official to let know the situation and the plight of the displaced people, refugees who cannot go back home, who don't have legal documents, children who born in Thailand need to continue provide support until they can go back home safely. So the health program and services need to continue provide service until the Burmese health system being developed.
Tell me, how does the Burmese government view the service that you provide? Do they regard the hospital as lawful, as legitimate? What's your status in their eyes?
The clinic was based in Thailand. So since the clinic established, we are working as a community health center and community organization. Since most of our staff or people working at the clinic doesn't have legal documents, but they offer us opportunity to work together with them. At the same time, there are many ethnic health organizations who working in the ethnic state. So they need to be recognized by the government health system because they are the people who have been working with the community, protecting human rights and providing essential service for these people. So we want to see that the government acknowledge the existing health service provided by ethnic organizations.
You send your trained health workers into Burma, into rural communities. How dangerous is it for your staff to work in Burma? There's the issue of no documentation, which your staff have a problem with no documents and your clientele have a problem with no documents as well. But it's quite dangerous for your staff, isn't it? I understand that you treat both refugees and soldiers. Tell us about the incident where one of your staff saved a soldier's life about a year ago. Tell us what happened.
Most of the organizations, civil society organizations based on the border, like women organization, youth organization, we all are not registered in the government system. So this is very challenging for the health workers to work as like under the unlawful association. This government consider as unlawful association. So this is very challenging for them. Even while they travel, they could not. They have to make sure that the government soldiers could not will be around them. So they have to make sure that the security must be. Their security must be guaranteed, but some case they are also risks of landmine injury, and while they are trapped in the war, so they can be killed. So over the past 10 years, 12 of our health workers being killed by landmine or injury, and some of them being arrested. So they are considered as they are working as a high-risk condition, high-risk environment.
So a number of them have been killed, but I understand in recent times one of your health workers saved the life of a soldier, but he then had to return and arrest the person because of the workers' association with your hospital.
The workers who are working in the conflict zone, with whether they live, they travel, or they treat the patient, they have to be very careful about if they own the medicine, because you are not also the registered health worker. So even they treat the patient, sometimes they have to make sure that the community are protected to them.
Let's talk about Burma today, because in some circles it's being said that Burma is now normal, it's open, it's democratic, Aung San Suu Kyi is free. So these people on the border can now go back to where they came from, go back home. The UNHCR says that that's premature. How do you see the political and economic developments in Burma today affecting all these displaced people? Can they go home? And if not, why not?
Even the ceasefire is very early stage. People start feeling that maybe they can go back to their community. So people start going back and see their village. But there are many abandoned villages, or there are some villages being occupied by soldiers, because a lot of investment going on in their village. And some area, because of the deforestation and because of economic investment, they can't really continue doing the livelihoods opportunity in their place. So people come, and then later people coming back to Thailand to continue work in Thailand as a migrant labor. Another challenging for the villagers to go back home is the ceasefire is still very early stage, and they have seen that a lot of investment going on, and the conflicts can cause any time. So people feel that very unsafe to go back home now, but they really want to go back and live safely in the community, and they want to protect their village, and they want to rebuild the community. So a lot of distrust in the community going on, because there are many also new arrivals coming to their village, and they don't really know that what's going to happen while the economic development or economic zone being opened up. So their village will be occupied. Yeah.
So there's a growing military presence throughout some areas, but with the ethnic unrest still rife, they'd argue that this is necessary to keep the peace. Is this how you see it?
This is very important that the community itself need to participate active role in monitoring the peace process, and community itself need to be well informed where and how in this situation, or what livelihoods opportunity, as well as what service available in the community. So the community need to participate in the beginning of the stage, and we want to see that there are more human rights protection need to be guaranteed, as well as the women participation in the peace process is very important. Currently, all the peace process or the ceasefire process are led by men, so we want to see more women engaged in peace process.
I just want to go back to this issue of no documents and how people access health and education services in Burma, and it's all linked to land ownership and home registration. Could you just explain that to us?
Since our country is under armed conflict for many years, especially in ethnic area, there has been no proper birth registration system, or there has been no service available, legal service available for these people. So people who are growing up on the border, or people who fled to Thailand as well, they could not register their birth. So many children growing up as a stateless people, and many people moved from their village many times, so they lost their household registration and they lost their identity. So this make more vulnerable their land can be exploited easily, and their land being confiscated by the business. So they are very also concerned about their status and the children welfare, as well as they lost their home and they lost their community. So this is very stressful and challenging for the people who are in this situation.
Do we know how many people, how many displaced people there are in Burma and on the border altogether? I mean, has there been a census? Do we have any idea of numbers?
Starting from 2004, the Thailand government started register migrant laborers. In 2004, there are almost 1.2 million migrant laborers, and last year in 2013-12, they estimated there are almost 3.3 million Burmese migrant labor working and living in Thailand. So among those, only 1 million have legal documents.
So the consequences of not having documents, not owning land, is that you can't have access to education, you can't have access to health. What are the particular risks for children with no birth certificate?
Firstly, we identified that the Thai government also identified that there are many children who don't have legal documents. They don't have birth registration. So when the parents travel, they could not accompany. So usually the children are always left behind when the parents move another city or another village where they have better job opportunity. So last year, the Thai government started making available for the children, they call certificate of identity for children. But we estimate that there will be almost 30,000 children under 15, but only 2,000 children access legal document or certificate of identity. So that means the children are very vulnerable to be trafficked or to be separated from families, as well as access to education is very limited. They cannot, without identity, they cannot get education accreditation, or they don't have opportunity to attend higher education.
You said they're at risk of being trafficked. They're also at risk of being employed as adults and also being enlisted as adults in the military. Is that not the case?
Yeah, in Thailand, the age to be employed as migrant labor is 15 years old. But if you don't have a certificate or you cannot prove your age, they can be exploited. Many children under 15 are still working, but they don't have birth registration or the legal document, so they can't. We have big problem with the child labor, and also in Burma we had that the children being arrested and put as a child soldier because they cannot prove that they are children.
What are your fears for the future of Burma and for the people of Burma and for civil society in Burma?
The big fear is, until now, we have seen that the militarization is ongoing, expanding. So it will prevent democracy. It will prevent human rights, and the human rights violation and the centralization is stay ongoing. So the militarization prevent democracy, and also it will destroy the nation.
So what needs to happen before there is a lasting peace in Burma?
In reality, we really want the transparency, because the community, even our patient or children, they need information. The refugees, they need information. The migrant workers, they need information. So all this information have made them to decide for the welfare of their own community, and they have to decide that they will be part of the democratic movement, and they have to take the responsibility. But we need to have all the ceasefire process need to be more transparent, need to make sure that all the community organizations be empowered to participate actively, and the women, especially women who are the most vulnerable group, who are protect their own family, we have to give more active role in participating and monitoring the peace process. And then, since we have been under the conflicts for many years, there is a lot of trauma and a lot of distrust going on. So the community rebuilding is very essential, not only ceasefire, because we have to make more trust, we have to make partnership, and we have to work together in the healing process. So peace is not just ceasefire. Peace is relationship, trust, and confidence to continue working for welfare of the community.
Dr. Cynthia, thank you very, very much. All the very best for your country and for your people.